Hello, I'm Tag.
And this is Bob.
And you're listening to Bob and Tag Talk. Before we start the show, I'd like to point out that the topics discussed on Bob and Tag Talk are for informational purposes only. So please don't take this as investment advice. We urge you to do your own research before making any investment. So today we're going to be talking exclusively about insurance products. So what it is, why we need it, types and so on. So what are insurance products?
So yeah, like you mentioned, mainly when it comes to personal insurance. So primarily insurance is something that is mainly for protection, financial protection. So when you, for example, in those days, let's say when I say those days, like 100 years ago, when insurance was introduced, it was mainly introduced for life insurance. Okay. So let's say for an earning member of a family, that's a single earning family, then if something happens to the person who's earning, there is sufficient income that is provided by some group, so that to make sure that to insure against the death.
The family is compensated
protected,
financially.
Yeah, some kind of a protection.
Okay.
Maybe whatever it is possible, it may not be 100%, but whatever are the terms of the insurance. That's why insurance was introduced. But insurance was a lot of different kinds of insurance that was there 100 years ago.
Okay.
Historically, when you're seeing. So generally, when you're moving products in ships, there were different kinds of insurance. If you remember, there is a very popular story of Shakespeare, Shylock, the story of Shylock.
Yes.
So that is kind of the risks of the things when you don't have insurance.
Yeah.
Those days, there was no concept of insurance those days.
Yeah.
They really claimed the pound of flesh.
Yeah.
That's the kind of a thing. Let's say. So this insurance was able to protect against all those kind of morbid scenarios or very difficult scenarios, difficult financial situations.
So what are some common types of insurances?
So first thing, when it, like we already discussed life insurance as well. That's the first one. So life insurance is if anything happens to the insurance policy holder, so their family is kind of protected.
So when you say if something happens, it generally means death or demise,
Death
right?
or accident, yeah.
Accident also is covered?
Sometimes, depends on the policy.
Okay. So that is life insurance in
Yes.
general. So there's also health insurance, right?
Yes.
So health insurance is basically covering you for hospitalization needs,
expenses, and some diseases.
Okay. So there are different health insurances that cover for different types of. No. I think that's not right. So since life insurance is about a sum that you receive on your death or accident.
If your family receives on the death.
Yeah, but health insurance is something that is for the individual,
who's holding the insurance,
or for the dependents,
yes,
for their hospitalization expenses.
Hospitalization, post-hospitalization, whatever it is, depends. Every insurance policy is different, and obviously we cannot categorize them everything as simple as possible. But in a general sense, it is for health protection.
Got it. So there's a lot of terms in health insurance. Probably we'll not get into all of them, but there are some very specific things that you should look for when you're buying a health insurance. Is that how much are you insuring for? What is the sum that you're insuring for? So because of the rising medical costs these days and everything, and if you're taking an individual policy, it would be best to start with a 10 lakh insurance, sum insurance.
Depending on the age factor.
Depending on the age, your income and all of that. So, you always have to remember that with any insurance product, you have to pay a premium every year, annual premium, or you can pay a sort of a monthly thing also. I think it's available.
True.
So depending on the premium that you can pay, you choose an insurance that is best suited for you, which goes for life insurance or health insurance.
And the main important thing is what are the exemptions or what exactly they do not cover.
Exactly. Because
that is something that you have to know.
Yeah. I think the life insurance policy document is pretty straightforward when you read it.
So, when it comes to life insurance, there are different kinds of life insurances. One is what we term it as pure insurance. That is only on death the money is given.
Right.
That is one. Other is term. So for a fixed term, your life is insured. After the term, there is no life insurance. You just get your money back.
Okay. After maturity, you get your money back.
So that's a term-based insurance.
Got it.
And then there are again different kinds of combinational insurance products that insurance companies provide. Life plus investments or something like that.
Okay, got it. And when it comes to health, from my experience, from what I know, it is always best to choose a good enough sum insured.
Yes.
And it's also good to have like things like restoration,
Yes.
no claim bonuses. See what are your room rent restrictions, like are you able to afford a single private AC room or no, and what diseases does it cover, what does it not. So there's a lot of things that you should see in your health insurance policy document, and before you get your insurance.
And this applies only for your personal insurance.
Yes.
Let's say if you have one insurance which is employer insurance, your company is paying insurance for you, that will have a lot of better benefits probably than your personal insurance.
So
It depends on what the company is doing. Generally, most companies, they use this group insurance products for their all employees.
right.
They cover most of the common things. But your personal insurance should be up and above that.
Yes, I agree with that. That it should be up and above that. With company insurances, the thing is you can there's no like waiting periods
Yes.
that you have to serve or anything like that,
Yeah.
and anybody can be covered. Say like you have an aged parent that you're willing to cover, so you can
That
cover.
comes under parental insurance, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, when you have a company insurance and you say you pay an extra premium to have your parents as dependents, your parents will be covered for very serious ailments also, say like cancer or whatever it is, and they won't have any waiting periods. Whereas when you want to add your parents as dependents for an individual thing.
So that's the thing, right? So I have never seen any personal insurance where your parents are automatically covered.
Yeah, because that is not the family tree that the insurance companies accept.
Yeah.
The family structure that insurance companies accept is two adults with a spousal relationship, father and mother, and then children if it's a floater
they are the
sort of a
dependents.
policy. Yeah, they're the dependent. So when you want to take your parents as dependents, there is usually a lot of it's a little bit more difficult.
There are too many clauses to be
Yes.
considered, too many.
Yes, and if they're above a certain age, if they have like pre-existing conditions, it's going to be very difficult. Cancer and all is going to be
What is the
very
maximum age limit?
Sometimes, most times, it's 65.
65. Okay. The
But-
retirement age generally.
Yeah,
60 to
and
65.
there are very few policies who can cover up to 70 or 80.
Yeah. No insurance policy will cover beyond 70.
Yeah, exactly, because it's expensive for insurance companies, which is obvious.
Basically, the insurance company does not get any profit.
Exactly. So yeah, insurance is a profit-based
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, that's the capitalism world that we live in.
Yes. So yeah, life insurance, term insurance built into the life insurance with investments, and then health insurance. These are probably the two major sort of insurances that we look for today. And then, so what are some other types of insurances that you know about?
The most common one is whenever you're getting a vehicle, you automatically get an insurance on it. So when you're buying a scooter or a bike, some states it is mandatory. And I think in all states it's mandatory now.
I think so. Yeah.
Initially it was not, now it is mandatory. The thing is, in case of accidents, it's an accidental insurance.
Yes.
So in US and Europe it's applied differently, and India it was applied differently.
Right.
But now I think India is getting a little bit more aligned with how US is. So how it works was, in US, let's say you have a vehicle, you have an insurance, I have a vehicle, I have an insurance.
Right.
If we have an accident,
Right.
I take your insurance number and I make the claim.
Okay.
So this is called third party insurance.
Okay.
But in India, I think at least in the first decade of my working career, it used to be first party insurance. So if something happens to my vehicle, I will submit the details to my insurance company and they'll reimburse me. And so in that kind of a way. But now third party insurance is also allowed in all the new products that have come today. Like
Right.
Digit Insurance. I think it's one really famous one. There's some couple more probably.
Okay.
Acco and probably that's the new ones. They really
Interesting.
changed the game in the insurance industry for automobiles. So I think they have some new benefits that are coming.
Yeah, and I think with insurance products, there's not much that we actually know about insurance. A lot of people don't really know much about their
That's
insurance
the thing, because
policies.
government has made it mandatory, at least for vehicle insurances. Generally, you have to get it, you get it.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do with it.
Exactly, it's just there. Most people, as far as I know, we don't read the documents. We don't read the fine
So
print.
what at least we can do is, when we go to the service center to service our vehicles, we can check with them if what does the insurance cover.
Yes.
We can ask them. They would be able to provide at least a little bit more details on at least the inner workings of the insurance. Generally, if you meet with an accident or your vehicle is really damaged, you can go to your service center and you can ask them to make sure like to get this covered under insurance, and they will contact the insurance provider and they'll make sure at least some charges are covered by the insurance and you have to pay less.
Yeah, makes sense. So that is vehicle insurance.
Yes.
What other types of insurance are there?
So home insurance is one of the big ticket item. So it's home insurance is a little thing like it's mainly optional. So you can choose to get it. Only some banks make it mandatory. So I think we are talking about in a previous podcast also. So when generally getting home loans, you can get it combined with the home insurance policy.
Right.
So in case you pass away or something happens to you, basically what happens is the home loan amount is automatically paid and your family gets the home. So that is really important. I think people who really get home loans should get a home insurance, even if it is not suggested by the home loan provider. You get it by yourself. So it's really worth it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, you don't want your family to lose your home because you met with.
So the recent news that I have read was. There were a couple of parents. This is the most interesting part.
Right.
I don't know. It's kind of
slightly morbid.
It is morbid. It's not about being morbid.
Okay.
It's kind of a rhetorical thing or something like that. Not rhetorical. That's not the right word.
Okay.
So I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
So there were a couple of parents.
Okay.
The father was an insurance agent. Okay. And he had got a home loan. He had not got a home insurance policy.
Okay.
And probably he worked on different type of insurance things. So maybe he was in life insurance, whatever. So due to this COVID scenario, both the parents passed away. And the home loan, now the company that gave the loan, not a company, it's actually a housing finance bank that gave the loan. As they have the two children, 17-year-old and 8-year-old, they are liable to pay the home loan. So this is a little tragic story. But so this kind of things, when you don't have home insurance, how are they even going to pay it? They're just starting. It's very, very difficult.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
So these are the things insurance really to protect. Insurance is supposed to protect your family in any situations. And there are different business insurance and things like that. Those are all different things. But first family and things, these are the things that insurance is actually really, really beneficial for.
Got it. Health, life, home, automobile. And then?
What else?
I think there's also fire.
So generally, again, it comes in home only. So generally, if you're building a home by yourself, it's not an apartment or something, you're building your home, you can take building insurance. So depending on the quality of the building, they will give an insurance on it. If there's an earthquake or if there is something that happens, or for example, there is water damage and there's heavy rain, monsoon damage, which is very common in some cities these days. So you can take insurance on it. So generally, most home insurance policies cover only like certain scenarios like building damage or things like that. So they will cover it. So if you want something like that, you can go for it. And generally, other things are fire insurance and theft insurance.
Okay.
So generally, some people, at least in the what I am aware of, in some other countries, so they have something called rental insurance. So for example, if you're renting a home and then there is some damage or something like that, the insurance will cover it.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because of the renters or something, there is some problem and things like that. So for rental protection, they get insurance. I don't know if the concept is not yet popular yet. Maybe it is available, but I don't see it as quite popular.
Okay.
So those kind of things you want to get insurance on, and something like insurance against theft is really nice.
So these are the major things that you should consider getting an insurance on. And then there are some secondary sort of insurances that also you can get, right? So for example, there's something called a consumer insurance and then mobile.
Consumer insurance is very common these days. When you buy anything from a shopping site, you can just click a checkbox saying protect or something like that. That is basically an insurance policy. So basically, if you're buying a mobile phone, it's a nice phone. There's a 1 year period where the mobile screen breaks, they'll replace it. Basically, it is covered by insurance. And sometimes the company themselves are providing it, sometimes a third-party insurance company that is providing it. These are very common these days for consumer products because people who are buying expensive products like Apple products or some other products. It's very common these days.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we saw what is insurance. We saw why do we really need insurance, and then we saw the different types of insurance, from the major ones like health and life insurance, with home insurance and fire insurance, automobile, and then we saw some minor other insurances like consumer, which includes mobile phones, any other like electronic gadgets, whatever it is. So basically at the end it's like some insurances are very necessary.
Yeah, so it's very important for a personal individual to see, at least make sure you get a life insurance, health insurance, and the most important part of health insurance, you can get as many health insurance as you want.
Yes, there's
So
different
you can
types
get multiple. You can get
yeah.
you have a company one, you can take 2 personal ones also if required.
Yes.
But again, the health insurances are sometimes, at least in my opinion, it can be a scam as well, where there are a lot of conditions are excluded and things like that.
You definitely have to read your health insurance document.
Terms and conditions properly.
You have to basically buy an insurance where there's the least amount of waiting periods that you can fulfill, and there's limited restrictions, and then there is no disease-wise limits. So that's something to always make sure when you're buying a health insurance.
And don't just get an insurance just to get it, because make sure you're aware of the terms, what is covered, what is not covered. Like for some things, like for example, some companies cover it, like if you're for a family, a small family, the second dependent are twins, then sometimes only one of the twin is covered.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, but 2 childs are only covered.
Yes.
Sometimes 3 childs are covered. So those kind of things.
Yeah.
And some insurance policies where maternity charges are not covered.
Yes.
And I was really surprised when you had told me that there are some policies like that.
Exactly.
That is one of the most basic expenses that anyone can expect.
Yeah.
But
and
company policies, it is covered.
Exactly. Company policies will cover it. With individual policies that cover maternity, there will always be restrictions, or there will be not restrictions, limits. Up to which maternity expenses can be covered.
Maybe you thought that this could cover that, and suddenly you will be surprised it was not.
Exactly.
So, and there are a lot of selling is done. Insurance, there is a lot of misselling, and there is a lot of wrong selling, or whatever it is. Sometimes you don't have the right information. So even if you're buying, make sure you know what you can use for, what you cannot use for.
Yeah.
And health insurance also, what diseases it cannot cover. For example, if there are hereditary diseases that your family has, make sure you consider, are those covered or not.
Exactly.
Possible that after 40, 50 you may get it, but at the age of 25 you're not worried about it.
Yes, yeah.
So those kind of things.
And one more thing, when you mentioned age, it is always better to get insurance at an earlier age, in my opinion, because at that age you're not going to be you're not going to be having much health conditions, and you can also serve the waiting periods and finish serving the waiting periods by the time you get older.
But there's also a caveat, at least that in my experience I have seen.
Right.
I got an insurance, I think when I was 25 years old.
Okay.
And that was a premium. And the premium suddenly increased after 10 years. Because of all COVID scenarios, hospitalization expense, everything increased. So the premium almost tripled suddenly.
Yeah.
So
it also depends on your age bracket.
Yeah.
So when you come to a specific age bracket,
premiums will automatically increase.
Yeah. That is something, you should keep in
mind.
Plan for it,
at least plan for it.
Yeah, exactly. Because an insurance is definitely necessary, and you will be paying premiums for it. But like you said, planning for it is very, very essential. So one more thing to mention is that
benefits.
Tax benefits. There's a lot of tax benefits.
I think that is the primary reason why many people get insurance these days, even though it should not be.
Exactly, and that's why they get it, and they don't read it.
They don't read it properly. Just for the tax purposes, they sometimes get life insurance and medical insurance products. Ideally, it's an added advantage, but that should not be the main priority.
Yes, and at least with life insurance, it's a simple enough thing to understand that if you die or whatever it is, you get a lump sum. But with health insurance, you can't just you just buy it and avail the tax benefits, and then you can't even use the insurance. What is the point of getting it?
Exactly.
So there is tax benefits to it. There are so many other benefits to it. But yes, you do have to pay the premiums depending on your income. And
I mean, you have the option of quarterly, half-yearly, and like I think we spoke about in the last podcast. If you have really good insurance products, you can also take loans on those insurance products. So let's say, for example, LIC is the largest insurance provider in India. So they provide, you will say you have an investment or a money back scheme or something like that. So as you invest more after 3 or 5 years, the invested amount you can take it back as a loan.
Right. Yeah. So insurance products are something to consider. And
definitely, life insurance, health insurance should be considered. But don't fall for mis-selling. That's the thing.
Exactly.
People will just sell you something which is not useful for you. Be very careful about that. And tax benefits are just an added thing. That's something you should remember.
Yes.
Main focus is what you're getting.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's a good spot to end it there today. Hey, thanks for listening to Bob and Tag Talk. please consider following us on our Instagram and Facebook pages. We put out weekly summaries of the topics discussed on the podcast. And if you found this episode informative, please like, share, and subscribe.